JoDee Garrestson. I'm the Executive Director of the Support, Advocacy, and Resource Center, commonly known as SARC. We've recently changed our name from the Sexual Assault Response Center to better indicate all the services that we provide. We do provide crisis intervention, advocacy, and support to victims of crime on a 24-hour basis, and all services are free and confidential. Today we are here to discuss a very important topic that affects many of our children, cyberbullying. Our guests include Christy Rasmussen, New Horizons Principal, James Canada, the School Resource Officer, Caleigh Ciulla, a student who is here to speak on her own experience, and then our own Program Director, Renee Blackman. First, we'd like to discuss what cyberbullying is and explain some of the statistics around it to understand the scope. So Renee, if you could please start with sharing some of that information.
Of course. The definition of cyberbullying is using technological devices to bully and harass others. Types of cyberbullying include gossip, posting several cruel gossip posts to damage somebody's reputation or to damage relationships with other people online. Exclusion, deliberately excluding people from online posts or social networking sites. Impersonation, breaking into somebody's email or social networking site to send information out to their friends or acquaintances online to damage or ruin their reputation or relationships. Harassment, repeatedly posting or sending offensive, rude posts to other people or to the target. Cyber stalking would be following somebody online and continually harassing them. Flaming would be online fights or posting rude or offensive language online. Outing and trickery. Trickery is tricking somebody into revealing personal information that could damage or ruin their reputation online. And then cyber threats are remarks online that could threaten harm against somebody or threaten to ruin somebody's reputation. Some statistics about cyberbullying are 32% of online teens say that they've been targets of a range of annoying or potentially menacing online activities. 39% of social network users have been cyberbullied in some way, compared with the 22% of online teens who do not use social networking sites. 88% of social media using teens say they have seen someone be mean or cruel to another person on a social networking site. 12% say they've witnessed this kind of behavior frequently, so it is happening on a regular basis. 55% of people see people ignoring behavior online. 27% see others defending the victim. 20% see others telling the offender to stop, and 19% see others joining in to the bullying online. 1 in 6 parents know their child has been bullied over social media, and in over half of these cases, their child was a repeat victim. Over half of the parents whose children have social media accounts are concerned about cyberbullying, and then more than 3/4 of parents have discussed the issue of cyberbullying with their children. Hyper-networking teens, and those teens are defined as teens who use more than 3 hours per school day online. They are 110 times more likely to experience cyberbullying compared to those who are not defined as hyper-networking teens.
Those statistics can be very alarming and concerning to parents in the community. I think what would be especially helpful is to hear what is happening in Benton and Franklin counties, because sometimes people don't understand it's the same in our community as it is in others. So when we return, we're going to speak with Christy Rasmussen, the principal of New Horizons High School, and also Officer James Canada, the School Resource Officer at Kennewick High School. of a high school in New Horizons, what do you see? What does cyberbullying look like to you?
It kind of takes on a couple of different faces. First, we see students that come to us from other high schools because we're a school of choice in Pasco School District, and they come there because they've had some cyberbullying issues or, school anxiety, school refusal behavior at other schools, and sometimes it is clearly related to some cyberbullying, and they want a fresh do-over. So there's the isolation from their peers. A lot of times we start to see the school refusal behaviors of, I have a stomach ache, I don't feel good, skipping classes, the separation in other cases where they're like important people to them, friends that were important, so suddenly they're even isolated from them, their support group. And so it sort of depends on the student, boyfriend, girlfriend. Lots of times that'll be on blast on Facebook, MySpace, texting. And quickly lots of other kids join in.
How do you typically become aware that someone's being cyberbullied? Do the students mention it to you, or how does that even come about?
We're really fortunate at our school to have some close relationships with our students, so a lot of times they may not come to me, but they may come to a counselor, a teacher, someone like that, and they'll say, gosh, I'm having problems with this, or we'll overhear them, and we're all about having the conversation rather than letting it go. And so that'll involve adults into the chat about, what really is going on. And then we really look at, is this something that started at school, and is it distracting you from your ability to be academically successful at school and be here? And so that's always where we bring it back to is, this is starting to affect how successful you are here at school, or sometimes it can escalate to a fight at school. Depending on how many kids get involved in the cyberbullying, it can become big. I have some posts that were from over the weekend that started out with just a little bit of he said, she said. I have 88 kids on Facebook all involved in this. Not all my students, not all on our campus, but that's how quickly that happens.
What type of consequences do students face at school if they are caught cyberbullying other students?
Well, we have clear discipline procedures in all school districts as directed by state law. But for us, what we really look to is not just the consequence of them having cyberbullied something, but why was that happening, and what can we do to build skills with the students that help them to not let that happen or not get sucked into a cyber conversation that had nothing to do with them, wasn't positive, meaningful, or really part of the school day. So what we do is we work to do mediation with the youth that are involved in the cyberbullying that are on our campus and directly related. And what kids find out is that cyberbullying happens. It's an easy thing to do because it's not personal. It's not like you're having a face-to-face conversation and seeing that person as another human being. You're just popping off and saying whatever you want to say, whether it's something you'd want your mother to hear you say or not. And so we really want to make it personal, that, teach them to mediate and talk and work through the fact that probably the kids involved in it are more alike than they are different, and we're all human beings, and that's not how we treat each other.
And do you normally see a difference after that?
Sometimes it doesn't happen the first time or the second time, but you stick with it and be very consistent. And if you feel comfortable to say those things on a text message or on Facebook, then you should feel comfortable to sit face-to-face with that person. And let's have a conversation about why this happened, and then go back further and figure out how can we put a stop to this.
Okay. For the person that is being bullied, what resources are available to help them through?
We have our counselors. We have mentors. Peer mentors is another great thing. Close relationships with other people on campus. Sometimes we reach out to counselors in the community. We want to have families on board to help support the youth to, step away. First of all, cyberbullying, there is this thing that's called an off button on a phone and a computer. So, we want to teach kids to say, it's like teaching them 25 ways to say no to drugs, refusal skills. We want to teach them to have refusal skills to cyberbullying too. And build their self-esteem that if these people are engaging in conversations that are hurtful and mean, maybe you don't want to be friends with them or participate. And how can you build relationships with other people that don't treat you that way?
With mentioning the parents, how do they respond? This wasn't probably so common with most of the parents, of course, with technology the way it is now. So do they understand the seriousness of it, and are they very much on board with trying to stop it?
Oh, absolutely. Parents want what's best for their children, and they want their children to be healthy and happy and feel safe. It's a conundrum for parents because most of us, when we were in high school, the quickest way to communicate with your friend was on a telephone that was attached to a wall in the kitchen where everybody heard your conversations. So there was an accountability piece that there isn't with texting and Facebook and MySpace and those kinds of things. And so I think helping parents know ways to hold their kids accountable for their own behavior. I think some of the cell companies are doing a better job now of having parental controls on phones, so those things, so you have a better look at what's going on, and then really knowing to have those conversations with your kids and say, it's not okay for other people to treat you that way, but it's also not okay for you to engage in that. It's hard being a parent these days. It's so different than when we grew up. Absolutely. Thank you, Christy. Officer Canada, from your law enforcement perspective, what are you seeing in the schools surrounding cyberbullying?
Well, as a school resource officer working in Kennewick High School, I see it all. It's a wide variety, a wide range of issues that get brought, and a lot of the things start outside of school, but end up coming back into school. So, like Christy said, we do a lot of interventions, a lot of things to try to get the parties involved to see how hurtful and how mean it is. Like you said, it's real easy to talk at a computer screen, and you don't realize what you're typing really can hurt someone. And so it is definitely something that we deal with every single day, and we hear about it from students, from counselors, from teachers. So there is a lot that kind of goes into it.
And you've been a student resource or a school resource officer at varied schools. Do you see it similar at different schools that you've been at? So basically I'm asking you, does it appear that it happens kind of everywhere?
Oh yeah. I was at Southridge High School prior to going to Kennewick High, and I can tell you that it doesn't matter which school it is, it's in all schools. And quite frankly, you'll have kids from other schools harassing kids from other schools on Twitter, Facebook, Google+, texting each other. The thing about the cyberbullying is that it's not restricted by boundaries. So quite often I go to other schools to talk to different victims and or perpetrators of cyberbullying.
Okay.
And the other scary thing that I always find is that when we were kids, if we went to a party or did something dumb, the only people that knew you did something really dumb were your people that were with you, the people that hopefully you'd trust. Now, something as innocuous as a cell phone photo can go viral, and then it's like playing post office. What started out as an innocent photo can turn into people making comments that had no idea of the implications of what was done or what was meant in the original photo.
Oh, absolutely. A popular thing is Instagram, and those photos get posted right to Facebook or Twitter, and that's one of the things I do is I actually cruise Facebook and some of the other media outlets, Twitter, to try to stay on top of some of the things that I hear about with the cyberbullying. And there's pictures that pop up as people are at parties, as they're drinking with their friends, or as they're taking photos of someone else and making fun of them. One that comes to mind is at a basketball game. A picture was taken of a young lady, and the girl who took it and her friends were actually making fun of her right after they took the picture or as they took the picture. And so, you know, you're right. The availability and the technology is just, it's crazy.
Now, have you seen it rise to the point of where it's turned into actual physical violence, and where it started as cyberbullying, but then it's arisen and you've seen violence break out?
Oh, absolutely. We have, you know, we don't have very many fights throughout the year, but some of them that do occur are a direct result of non-communication, you know, physically, but of course over, you know, in the cyber world. You know, so-and-so said something about this, or he said something about her, she likes this girl's old boyfriend or what have you, and they are, you know, as close as we are together, but won't say anything to each other until they get onto, you know, in the cyber world, and then they, you know, talk back and forth, and obviously the next time they see each other, you know, it escalates sometimes into a physical altercation.
And actually, this Facebook post that I had with 88, the reason I even saw that is because a young lady arrived at school after getting, having the girl scratch her face on the bus, which wasn't at school, had nothing really to do with us, but she was attacked on the bus, got off the bus, still came to school, and I said, "What's going on?" "Oh, nothing, I'm fine, nothing happened." Born at night, not last night. And so by the time the conversation was over, she'd logged into Facebook and said, "Look, miss, this is what's happening."
Now, I know you're not a prosecutor, however, with law enforcement does prepare the cases for prosecution. Would it be fair to say that kids might need to be a little bit more aware that evidence is often found on telephones and on these different social networking sites that actually can be used as evidence in prosecution cases, and that we might have special technology in our community to be able to do that?
Absolutely. When I'm investigating a cyberbullying case, I most definitely want to have access to the evidence of the conversations, and you know, a lot of kids think that if they delete it, it's gone. Well, we know in the cyber world it doesn't happen. So it might be gone off their screen, but the person they sent it to or anyone else that's included in the thread still has it on their profiles and pages. And you know, we can, as law enforcement officials, we send letters to you know, Google and Facebook and MySpace and the phone companies to keep records, and then we apply for search warrants and get the conversations from the company. So even though it's gone off their screen, the host companies still have access to all the messages and all the things that were done, and they keep them anywhere from 7 to 10 days after they've even been deleted, and they're there as long as they haven't been deleted at all from you know, anybody involved.
Great, thank you. And I can also speak to the fact that in the last few months, we were able to purchase special equipment for law enforcement to be able to dump cell phones that go way back, to have the pictures and all of the conversations.
Yes.
And so that's just, our community is ahead of the game technologically that way, so it is important for kids to understand that as well. So thank you so much for both of you and all the information. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll speak with Renee some more on tips for parents, and then also a student who's been impacted by being cyberbullied. Thank you so much for sticking with us. What we'd like to do now is speak to a student who has been impacted by cyberbullying. Caleigh, if you could you please share some information about what happened in your situation?
Yeah. I've been a victim of cyberbullying a couple times on both sides of the situation. One experience I had was with a girl that used to be a really good friend of mine. I trusted her a lot, but she used the internet, like social networks like Facebook and MySpace, to message people that I knew and like turn them against me when I did nothing wrong in the first place. And it was just kind of like a heartbreaking experience in general because, you know, I had so much trust in her. She was a really good friend, or at least I thought so. She tried to ruin my relationship with my boyfriend and I have a lot less friends now because of that. But I kind of back at it as an experience like to learn from, because I used to cyberbully a lot before that, and I don't do it as much. Well, I try not to do it at all now because I understand how it can make you feel. It doesn't feel good at all.
Could you elaborate on that a little bit? I don't want you uncomfortable, but I think sometimes people that cyberbully don't really understand the impact that it can have. Could you expand a little bit about that?
Yeah, when she messaged me, she used really, really foul, derogatory, statements, and I don't know how to describe it other than it just hurt because I had let her in on my deepest secrets and she used those against me. I had so much faith, and I fell kind of under pressure, and I stopped talking to a lot of people after that because I just felt so alone because I had lost the person that had meant the most to me.
Did you speak to your parents?
Yeah,
I
spoke to my mom about it. She was like the only person I really tried to talk to about it because I was embarrassed.
So as we were talking about earlier, sometimes it's harder for people my age and the age of your parents to maybe understand because technology was different. Was it complicated for your mom to understand what was going on?
No, not at all. My mom is actually very technologically intelligent, I guess. She uses Facebook and she texts and all that stuff. It's pretty cool. But no, she understood exactly what I was going through because she had gone through it in a different way when she was my age.
What would you say if you had the opportunity, well, you do right now, to others who are out there that think it's funny and think it's a harmless thing to do? What would you say to other people who are trying to hurt students in the class?
Well, honestly, I understand, because I've been on both sides of it, like I said, it can be funny to you at the time, but you don't really understand how much it really affects other people. I've met people who have gotten suicidal because of it, and it really does leave a really big impact on your life. And most people don't understand that. They think it's, fun and games, like, oh, hey, everybody, let's make fun of this person. And really, that person, they feel so attacked and so ganged up on it, and it's a horrible feeling.
Do you have any tips that you would want to tell someone who is being cyberbullied?
The best thing to do, if you're using a social network or your phone, just block them. If somebody's being rude to you and they're going out of their way to make you feel bad, then you shouldn't have to deal with that. You should just instantly just stop talking to them. And if it were to carry on at school, go tell somebody. It seems like it would be hard, but it's a lot easier to get the pain done and over with than have it done to you repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly, because that hurts even worse.
Thank you, Caleigh. I do appreciate you sharing. Renee, do you have some tips for parents that we could explain about so that parents are more in a position to help protect their kids from being cyberbullied?
Definitely. Actually, the Cyberbullying Resource Center has created 10 tips for parents and guardians to help combat cyberbullying. So I'm going to highlight a couple of those tips for parents and guardians just to help their teens when they're experiencing cyberbullying or to prevent cyberbullying. Really, definitely to establish rules around using technology. Talk to your kids about cyberbullying. Talk to them about all of the types of cyberbullying, because often I think people think that cyberbullying is just online harassment, and it's just that. But there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of different types of cyberbullying that takes place. So educate yourself and then educate your kids about what's going on. Definitely also model appropriate behavior. A lot of adults get involved in cyberbullying too, and that's not necessarily modeling good behavior for your teens. And foster good communication with your teens. Talk to them about what's appropriate and what's not. Talk to them about all types of internet safety issues. You know, there's a lot of safety issues when it comes to the internet, other than cyberbullying. So definitely talk to them about all of those risks. And in addition, make sure that you're using not only technology to help filter things online, using software to help limit access, but also create a contract with your kids and establish boundaries and guidelines for their use online.
Great, thank you. I would like to add an additional resource to keep in mind is SARC, the agency that Renee and I are both from. We do have a library that has a variety of information regarding cyberbullying, harassment, all sorts of victimization, and our website has information as well. So if you're looking for ways to talk to your kids, or if you've been victimized yourself, please remember that we're available 24 hours a day. Our phone number is 374-5391. Our services are free and confidential, and we're really there just to help all victims through the process and caring friends and family members as well. Thank you, Renee and Caleigh, so much for joining us today. For more information, please look at the links following the program. Once again, my name is JoDee Garrestson from the Support, Advocacy and Resource Center.